Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our session. We have a super nice client case for you with 7 senders and ASICS. ASICS, obviously, you see the shoes, so everybody knows how fancy they are, but you can also do a lot of running on them. And obviously, it also has these logistics challenges that we will talk about. 7 senders is probably one of the challenges. They used to be one of the challenges, but they're now really established as one of the top providers in international shipping. So we're looking forward to really a very nice, lively conversation and a nice presentation. Thomas Hagemann, the CEO and co-founder of 7 Senders. Michael Gryszko, part of the logistics team in the ASICS. And Suzanne Bassermann, also part of the logistics team. So I'll give the floor first to Thomas.
Okay, hi everyone, my name is Thomas. As said, CEO and co-founder of 7 Senders. Happy to be here. Nice to see so many of you in the audience, really happy. We're looking forward to present a nice case, joint case together with our client ASICS. And also thanks to ASICS for these amazing shoes. Happy to wear them. Handing over to you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Welcome as well from my side. I'm Michael, and happy to guide you through our case.
And then hello from my side as well. Definitely very interesting with the setup, but excited to share with you our journey.
Very good. And we will start the journey with a little bit of an introduction of ASICS, our company, with the short video.
Movement. It's the key to getting the most out of life. It makes us happier, healthier, and more in tune with the world around us. It's movement that leads to a sound mind in a sound body. And it's movement that can improve a day, a life, and even a whole community. Which is why everything we do at ASICS is to empower movement, pure and simple. Our unique philosophy was defined by our founder, Mr. Kihachiro Onitsuka, who wanted to bring hope to young people in post-war Japan. He recognized the power of sport to transform lives and dedicated his life and our company to empowering movement. Our Japanese roots are still very much alive. The values and spirit that defined ASICS 60 years ago continue to define us today. We combine innovative technology with traditional craftsmanship. We use our advanced understanding of human movement to develop technologically superior products, which are crafted to the finest detail. And we are committed to continuously moving both individuals as well as whole societies forward. Today, millions of people around the world choose ASICS to find their flow. From the park runners to the street dancers, the outdoor adventurers to the elite athletes. We create footwear and apparel for everybody under our brands: ASICS, ASICS Tiger, Onitsuka Tiger, and Hag Gloves. We are a diverse team, united by a unique spirit and a common goal. All of us believe in the power of movement. And that's why we are on a mission to get the world moving, so that everyone can achieve a sound mind in a sound body.
Yeah, I hope this gave you a little bit of an introduction into ASICS, what we do and what we stand for. And now happy to hand over to you, Thomas.
Yeah, I wish I had founded a sports company like ASICS and had a video like that. Unfortunately, you have to look at a slide now. 7 Senders, just brief introduction for those who don't know us. You can visit us at one of the first trade fair booths when you come into the center. Happy to talk to you. We are a Berlin-founded and Berlin-based company with some offices in Europe. What we do is parcel shipping and software for cross-border deliveries in Europe. To put it in one sentence, we are a team of around 200, 220 people in Berlin. We focus on the European shipping solution, including all customs solutions, or all customs countries. So whenever you want to ship from Germany to France, from France to Switzerland, I think we can serve you with a great solution. And before I leave this here in theory, we will talk about that later more. And happy to be here. And let's start with the agenda. So we kept it short. We will guide you through what once was for us a project. Yeah. So projects in B2B, as you know, normally start in a big tender, especially when you deal with a big company like ASICS. And this is why I first will soon hand over to Michael. He will tell you what logistics means for ASICS in general. Then we go to the requirements that ASICS had to the providers that took part in the tender, and then a little bit of a first general solution approach. And then we will jump into the actual solution that we are running today together in a partnership from the ASICS warehouse.
So logistics, as you all know it, when it's quite about logistics, then it's good. When it's not quite about logistics, then we have a problem, right? And usually logistics is treated as a hygiene factor, right? And at ASICS, we are basically on a mission. We started a movement several years ago where our ambition is to put logistics more in the middle of our business and to use logistics more as a business enabler, indeed, for the success of our company. Hence, we have created what we call, let's say, the magic triangle, right? Where you have the situation on top, you have agility, service, cost, and that's basically the triangle where we all move around, right? We have certain channels, like for instance the e-com channel, where we really try to boost the consumer experience as well from a logistics factor. When you all order online, for instance, right, you have a lot of touch points with the operations or supply chain or logistics team of companies, right? And this is really something where we, together with 7 Senders, where we are boosting, let's say, our consumer experience from that perspective. Obviously, we need to look at the costs. Ideally, we look at the costs in a situation where it's not visible for the consumer, right? So we try to over-invest into our agility, over-invest into our technology, over-invest into our consumer experience or service, how we call it, but try to find cost efficiency situations in the area where it's not visible. This is all not possible without people, right? So without an engaged team. Hence, we hope we are an engaged team that really strives for the continuous improvement of processes. We are a team that really looks into every single process and are not happy with the status quo, but really try to always push and look at what we can improve. Obviously, looking, and as well together with 7 Senders, looking a lot into technology, right, into software, into artificial intelligence, into let's say, the success of data gathering and innovating via understanding the data and the right thing. And obviously looking at the market. What is the market demanding today? What are we as consumers demanding from a logistical company, from the shipping, from receiving and sending back our goods? Ideally, and together with 7 Senders, I think we found a good partner where we are trying always to be a little bit ahead of the market and bring the innovation first, let's say. Plan, run, control, improve, repeat. That's basically our motto, and that's how we continuously strive to get better in logistics and bring logistics indeed as a business enabler into the world. Thank you.
Right. So how did we get in contact with 7 Senders? A couple of years ago, we received a new strategy from senior management in EMEA. It was really ambitious, and we had a lot of opportunity in order to streamline the flows. So in distribution, we had to really look at our outbound flows together with a strategy for the next 5 to 10 years for ASICS and see if this still matches up. The current state, and here I use the analogy of running. I love running. So I show it with where was the starting point. The starting line of our journey was looking at our current carrier setup, which was great. It was working. But was this still the setup that we wanted for future? Will this current setup still be good enough for the next 5 years growth and then for the strategy for the next 10 years? Do we have the IT and the business setup to also support this? And it was for us easy also then to see where the finish line is. Where is the end of this race for us? What we wanted was a more personalized approach for our B2C carriers. We wanted to listen to the consumers and also be able to meet them where they are at. As Michael mentioned, Kaizen, it's part of our DNA within ASICS, so the continuous improvement part. We wanted to have partners that will grow with us and align with us in where we wanted to end up with. And then, of course, the difficulty in Europe, we still have customs countries. We wanted a seamless flow there. So when we looked at the starting line of our race and where we wanted to end with the finish line, I think it was clear for us that this is not going to be a 10K race or a half marathon. We're in this for a full marathon. It's going to be a journey. It's going to take time, and we need to set our requirements straight. So looking at the next part, so what was our requirements then when we went out and ventured to look for partners for this growth? And it was interesting because for the keynote speech this morning for Henkel, it was also mentioned quite similar. We knew that we wanted lean logistics. We don't want additional steps. We don't want non-added value parts within our supply chain. So we really had to review from the end to end where we can optimize. And for me, it was important when I looked at the value proposition for e-com for ASICS that we get the agility part as what was mentioned. So we looked first at the bottom on the inside-out view. What is the strength of ASICS? What do we want? And I can summarize it there that for me, coming from a customer experience background, the optimization of the customer journey was key. Of course, we want cost optimization and operational efficiency. That was definitely one of the two of the requirements that we wanted. And we wanted to have more agile reporting and data systems to help us understand our business and where we can already move from a reactive to a more proactive way of handling our cases. But of course, you can't just have an inside-out view. We have to have the consumer input from the outside-in view. And this is all based on the consumer-centric logistics. We wanted the customer satisfaction. What a customer wants in Spain is very different than the customer in the Netherlands. And we wanted to be able to come closer and be more personalized with our offerings. We wanted the flexibility on the last mile. And as part of our commercial strategy, we've launched the One ASICS platform. And we wanted to be able to mobilize, from a transport perspective, the opportunities towards our consumers. So all in all, easy, right? We just had to find a partner to work with us to mobilize this.
And indeed to make the customer happy, right? So according to Gartner, who I guess many of you know, above 35% of the touch points of a consumer in a consumer journey is indeed with logistics and operations, as I said. So how does it work, right? So what was important for us? What was important for us from a consumer experience perspective? Imagine you're a consumer within Europe. It can be Sweden, it can be Germany, it can be Netherlands or Poland. You go on a website, you purchase a product, you purchase a nice pair of ASICS footwear. The order gets to the warehouse, and then what happens? You want to be informed, right? You want to be informed about basically every single step on the journey. You want to have your pre-announcements potentially. Right, and you ideally in each and every country you have your carrier of choice, right? You have your what we call local hero. So our strategy, we called it internally indeed a local hero carrier strategy, was that every single consumer in Europe has the opportunity to get our product not only on one website, but as well get our product with the carrier of preference within the respective country. Right, and the carrier of preference in Germany is, for instance, it's drives with yellow cars, right? And this is what we have in Germany. In the Netherlands, we have a different carrier, which is the local hero in this country. And why the local hero, right? The local hero is as well important not only for getting a convenient delivery and getting the information and potentially having a carrier driver, the delivery driver that knows in the garage, in the backyard where to put the parcel when you're not at home, but as well to have a convenient return process, right? The number of PUDO locations or return drop-off locations that is in a particular country is important for us. So a seamless return process is something that, even though we don't like it as a brand, obviously we want as well to have a positive consumer experience, even when the consumer sends one pair back due to whatever situation, right? And here we have a situation, again, despite the situation where the consumer really sits, the reimbursement of the money for the consumer is relatively quick usually, right? We have our SLAs, but as well, while we can operate with the local carrier and basically know at every stage where the product is, we can refund the customer, reimburse the customer relatively quickly, while always knowing where the product is and where the data is. So yeah, that's about a positive consumer experience via logistics in our joint operations.
Yeah, so in general, you won't see a lot of slides from my side today, because I think it's also good to actually hear ASICS talk about like what we achieved later. But we're still here before we present the solution to you. So you heard what ASICS wanted to have, what ASICS needed. And one thing that was important in the project that we will also talk about later is that you have it as a one-stop solution. Because the things get fairly complex, carriers one thing, label the other thing, and custom solution then the third thing, not talking about information flow, tracking, etc. So what we offered in general, not talking about certain carriers or certain pickup times or lead times or carrier selections. What we offered in general at the first place is a platform solution where ASICS as a shipper should connect to with one API and then can, but doesn't have to consume several services. And with the services at Seven Senders, it's like you got to ship with us, so you connect and you ship. And then you got to see what other parts from our platform you may want to consume, but you don't have to. So we don't want to squeeze companies into something that's maybe imperfect for their situation, right? So the core always remains the actual end-to-end logistics across borders. But in general, we help with the fundamental things that everyone needs, like providing shipping labels out of the API for any carrier, providing a one-stop custom solutions. I come to that later, so I won't go deep into this. That you can also just use through the API. You don't need a lot of other data points there. Thirdly, topics like tracking, offsetting of your carbon footprint with the Go Green solution that we have, no matter who you ship with. That also means that European logistics, unfortunately, as you know, is still not green, meaning that the cars that bring your parcels, as you see, in many countries are still not running on electric. So what you have to do in those cases is, for example, offsetting, where you can also have a very good process that is looked after by agencies to sign it off, so that you really know that at the end of the year you have set off all your emissions. Just to point out a few things, maybe the last one is a digital claims automation, a digital claims solution where you can basically claim across Europe all carriers in one language. We help the customers. Those are probably the most important points next to data quality as a fundamental that we talked about with ASICS. And yeah, let's see what we made out of it. Next, yeah.
So as I said one slide before, right, we have a very diverse consumer group across Europe, right? We have consumers sitting in multiple countries. You have a situation where you have, in the Netherlands, for instance, relatively demanding e-com consumers sitting, right? Because people are very used to ordering online. There is a big market, a big competition, and a very innovation-driven market as well here. So what we do have a warehouse. ASICS has a warehouse in Germany, which is around 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers behind the border. And together with Seven Senders and together with PostNL, indeed, we found a very let's say, unique process for this particular lane, where we are able to move our cutoff time in the warehouse to very, very late in the evening, but still have a situation that we can bring the product across the border in the right moment for the local depot of PostNL to ship it out next day into the major cities within the Netherlands, right? So we, from an ASICS perspective, we have the benefit that we have, worked on the consumer experience and made the consumer happy in the Netherlands, because we can ship basically next day. But as well, and remember the triangle, we have looked at the cost situation, right? Because with a standard product that we purchase via 7 senders from PostNL, and with the line haul that we were able to move out to the very last moment, we have for a standard service price, we have a next day outbound delivery situation in the Netherlands, right? Which is, let's say, in the triangle, benefiting all of the corners of the triangle, right? As well, we have the Swiss customer, right? Mathieu lives in Switzerland, right? It's a customs country for us, and Thomas will explain a little bit the unique situation that we have there. But here the big benefit for us was really that we have a one-stop shop, right? So we basically hand over the data into the 7 senders engine, right, how we call it. And then together with Swiss Post and 7 senders, they are basically executing all the outbound documentation, not only the physical delivery of the product, but as well the return operation, right? So for the consumer in Switzerland, again, he doesn't recognize where our warehouse sits. For him, he just drops it off to the Swiss Post depot or location and brings it back. So this just as 2 examples, right? But yeah, what we have done, maybe at the bottom of the slide, right? Together with 7 senders at the beginning of the project, we really tried to understand, hey, what actually do we need, right? Which we went through. What are the best carriers in the individual countries, right? So what are the local heroes? What are making them different, right? And again, you have one country where the PUDO network is very important, just because of the habits of the consumers, which might be in the Nordics. In different countries, you have the home delivery and the first attempt delivery at home, which is very important, right? So we really tried on individual lanes to agree and to understand what is the right carrier for us and what is the right route for us. And then obviously flexibility. It says on the slide we have lanes between 3,000 parcels to 200,000 parcels. We have a situation that we are using it omni-channel, right? So we are using the services via 7 senders, not only for e-com, but as well for our direct, or for our own retail stores, and as well for the parcel sendings to our wholesale partners. And here we are really very flexible, right? So very recently we changed the carrier, which took us a couple of days basically, for exactly 1 lane, right? For the deliveries to stores, high street deliveries in a particular country, because we recognized that we were partnering up with a carrier that is really focused on e-com, but there was a different one in the particular region that might be better in delivering on the high street and delivering to B2B locations, right? So this flexibility is really quite key for us. Yeah, operation and control. I think I can summarize those 2 points, right? We have a situation that data is key, right? And I really like the website, right? You can go in on a zip code level, and then you can understand more or less on real life how the last days, the last month, in terms of delivery quality and SLA adherence have been, right? So this data, our team, Suzanne's team, is really analyzing and trying to understand more or less on a lifetime what is the right setup for us and how is the setup potentially to be in the future, right? So selection, optimization, operation, controlling, again, Kaizen, this is where we are really optimizing the logistics situation for us. But now to Thomas on the customs solution, right?
Yeah, thanks a lot. So definitely one of the challenges was to build a setup that's scalable. You just said, like, from 3,000 parcels per country per year up to 200, 250,000, you need very different solutions. And one of the other different solutions that you need here is a custom solution. Just took here on the left side a standard one. So we're concentrating here, let's say, on the Swiss topic. So you get a lot of solutions, I guess, in the market where you kind of like have to pin it together. So you need 1, 2, 3 providers, depending on maybe exporting from your country. So exporting from Germany, importing into Switzerland. For sure, then you need the delivery partner, which we also have. In this case, it's the Swiss Post. And then maybe for returns, you even have another partner. But let's not make it too crazy. I rarely meet clients who have 4 partners, but 2 to 3 we often see. And the challenge that you have is if it's not fully digitized, you have a lot of email flow, a lot of CSV files flying around, a lot of data breaking, and eventually you will have, or you will get into problems with the customs, or you will be slower. And our goal is always to bring the Swiss dispatch situation to the situation as if it was your domestic or Austria, right? So we don't want that our customers have to look at Switzerland as a problematic country with later cutoffs, with more things to look after. But we rather invest in a proper one API solution. And yes, at the beginning we talked about you have to invest into data cleaning, into setting up your tarification, where we also help. And you have to go through that once upfront, but then it runs more or less digital, fully automated, and one partner runs it for you. Everyone who is in operations here knows that if you have a question about a problem in a country that's important to you, where a customer is waiting for orders, the worst situation is you don't know who to ask. And I think this is one of the big advantages, where having one partner in place for a critical topic like customs and delivery to a big country like Switzerland, so e-commerce wise big country, is a big plus. As far as I know, solution has been running for quite a while. Everyone's happy. And if you want to know more, talk to us. And I'm handing back over to Suzanne.
So in this slide, I had to basically give feedback if the solution that we put in place was successful or not, and if this made the goals that we set out for ourselves. And while I was looking at it, I was actually thinking we're continuously expanding our business with 7 senders. So I can't say, yes, we're there, because we keep on adding for more parts to this. It's a continuous improvement process that we have. But what I can definitely say is, in terms of customer experience, we are well on our way to meet all the goals that we've set, what I shared in the previous slides. From a customer perspective, they're getting the lead times, and we can change the lead times also as we see the volumes change throughout the seasons. We've got 7 senders that helps us, and we can really proactively look into the flows and changing it. The return solution, there we decided in some of the countries to actually have different outbound and return carriers, just because they fit the local hero concept that we have. And we're really trying to and really pushing the out-of-home delivery options, especially in the Nordics. And that's what I'm saying, that it's difficult to pinpoint where we are at now, because we're actually this week launching our Nordic solutions with 7 senders, where the main focus is looking at lockers, looking at out-of-home, anything that the consumer prefers in that area. Because when we had a study where we looked at what our current solution is, it was, like I mentioned, the classical home deliveries, and that's not what the consumers want in that area. So I think we're getting closer. We're not there yet, but it's still early days. We are moving, and we're changing the trends of the consumers. And what I've just mentioned, what we're doing in the Nordics, fits with ASICS's really ambitious goals in terms of sustainability. We're not the type of company that would claim we're sustainable. If we're not, then we'd rather not say anything, but we're not going to claim anything if it's not true. So that was one of the things that we also wanted to find a solution with, together with 7 senders. What can you offer us? How can you promote this with us? So if you order on our website, for example, you would be able to see we've got the green solution there. It's something that we work together with 7 senders, and it's really something that, as a company, we feel strongly that we want to promote towards our end consumers as well. Pushing also in terms of sustainability, the out-of-home, and then looking at how can we better utilize our trucks to minimize the movements that we have in the supply chain, because that all consolidates the sustainability goals. In terms of cost, yes, I've think that's also a question that all of you are curious about. So we definitely made our cost targets that we wanted to have. We are leveraging PUDOs, which is a more cost-effective method. So there it's definitely beneficial for us also to push that. And I think for me, the highlight that I want to mention in terms of the cost is the transparent surcharge model. So for 7 senders, we've got 3 surcharges on top of the freight, which is amazing. It's very transparent what our cost is. One of the surcharges is the green surcharge, one that we opted for. But what we see in terms of looking at costs for our transport carriers, it's sometimes really difficult because the freight rates might be really low, very beneficial. At the end of the day, when you look at your charges, the surcharges adds 20% on that freight rate. So we never really had the visibility with some other partners. And this for me is really a big benefit. And then the flexibility. I think what is the most difficult if you try to sell a concept like 7 senders internally for us is telling people this will cause a lot of change. People don't like change. There was always 100 reasons why we're not going to be able to handle this as a company. IT and business constraints, we don't have resources, million different reasons. Well, actually, like Michael mentioned, we just integrated a carrier and it was really easy because we already integrated with 7 senders. They know our business. To make small changes, that's the benefit now. For us, we've got that agility in our supply chain. If we need to make changes, it won't take 6 months for us to have that setting, and it won't take all that integration resources. We have got the concept now, and that we can refine over time. So, in a summary, did we make the goals that we set out for ourselves? I would say we're on the way, but we're not at the finish line yet.
Good. One last slide from my side. A couple of years ago, I met Thomas. We discussed. We shook hands. We said, let's do it together. And then I went back to our warehouse and confronted our warehouse management team with the situation. Look, guys, we are now doing a local hero strategy. So you have now 2 carriers, and tomorrow we will have like 15 or so, maybe 20 at the end. Let's see. They looked at me, opened the eyes and said, Michael, sorry, you're crazy. I will not do it, right? Today I have my 2 standby trailers. I load every parcel in. I don't care. It's very efficient for my warehouse. It's great. I really don't want to have 15, 16 carriers. Obviously we took the feedback, etc. We still did it, and we executed successfully our local hero strategy, right? But again, not looking into optimizing one area of the business, but then de-optimizing or penalizing the other area of the business, but really trying to have a solution that fits both areas, right? The warehouse and the transport. And what we have a situation of the pickup situation in the warehouse that really adapts, right? So if we are in a peak moment, right, let's say Black Friday, we have full trucks, loose load of parcels, very efficient for the warehouse to load, and we have direct fast shipments from Germany to Spain to the local depots in France, etc. But when we have a moment where it's a little bit calmer, right, then we can as well have one pickup and one truck, right? So basically we have one 40-ton truck. At the end of the truck, we put on pallets the parcels that go to Europe somewhere. Then we put maybe the customs parcels for Switzerland. And at the beginning, at the back of the truck, we put loose load again, the volumes for the Netherlands, right? And then there is one truck. It's still efficient for the warehouse. And the truck goes via the milkman principle, let's say, to the various locations and does the deconsolidation for us. So I guess what I try to say is that, with the platform principle and with the scalable solution, we even were able to, convince the warehouse manager that it's not a benefit in outbound transport that is penalizing the efficiency in the warehouse, but that we can basically adjust in both areas and elevate. That was it from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Suzanne, for giving us a very elaborative insight on a transition, right? And I think is also, before we move to the floor, ASICS is also from a little bit more traditional retailer moved into a full e-tail solution. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit on did that also trigger you to really look for other type of suppliers in order to accommodate that transition on how you sell your product?
other type of suppliers in the logistics area.
Yeah, if you move more and more into e-com, you know, that shift, or the multi-channel shift.
Yeah, I guess the multi-channel shift is certainly a topic, right, that affects the whole company, right? So when you look 10, 15 years back, we had our big wholesale customers. We had 2 seasons. At the beginning of the seasons, we pushed a lot of inventory out, right? And today we have the e-com business and a lot of e-com lookalike business with very small order volumes, but very frequent replenishment as well to the stores. So yes, certainly our business is changing significantly. And it's more and more, coming into a situation where artificial intelligence or IT intelligence, data management is very, very important for us in order to, be efficient as well in the new world. Yeah.
Thank you, Michael. Any questions from the audience here in the room already? Don't be shy. All right, let me have a question.
I saw one hand in the back.
Yeah. All right. Can we have a mic over there?
Hi.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I just wanted to know if the
Can
warehouse...
you state your name and company?
Yeah, sorry. Fermin from DB Equipment. Just wanted to check on, like, if you have your own warehouse and the people who run the warehouse are from ASICS, and if they are 3PL, how was the integration with the 7 senders, and if there were any conversations on leaving the responsibility on a third party on that matter.
Yeah, we are in a situation that we have implemented 7 senders in both our own warehouses now, meanwhile. So we started the journey in the German warehouse. And now, actually, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, we added on our warehouse in south of France as well to the 7 senders solution, which is quite nice. And the 3PL warehouses that we have are not yet connected, let's say, so I don't have the experience there. But certainly what I can tell you is a lot of change management, in particular on the warehouse side, right? Because people there are really looking at efficiency, and they're as well driven by efficiency a lot. KPIs, cost per unit, packed per hour, picked per hour, moved per hour, and there is a lot of change management involved there, and as well sharing the benefits, right? So, yeah, it can be a longer answer, but that is it. No?
There's definitely options after the session to go more elaborate into this. We had a question in the back.
Yeah, hi there. Interesting story. Anna Brugging, Lovecrafts. You mentioned the cost saving and the service improvement or the speed improvement. I wonder, there was a cost increase in the warehouse, no doubt, with the complexity of the 15 carriers. Have you been able to have the end-to-end cost impact?
Yeah. And the end-to-end cost impact is, there is many areas where it's not about only negotiation, let's say, but it's as well process improvement. And Thomas said at the beginning, claim management, the one source of collaborating, or the one platform where we can put in our claims for many, many carriers, helps us a lot in the customer service area. So that's really the area where you have office people, office staff spending a lot of time in the past in making the claims for 3, 4, 5 different carriers. Now you have one platform, one way of working. And that's the same in analytics and using the data and following the SLAs. So in the office section, you really save, or you gain efficiency, let's put it this way, which is overcompensating the sorting system. And just last sentence, in the warehouse, right? Obviously people were scared, etc., right? But as well there you can adapt, right, with a simple, and to be honest, they built a simple sorting solution at the end out of material that was already in the warehouse, and went innovative, etc., to overcome the complexity increase that they had.
Yeah, maybe to add to that as well, we saw that initially when the integration was just complete, we had to make a lot of changes to streamline. So it was a good year. I think that we looked internally, how can we streamline processes? And I think the big benefit is also that we can really be proactive in the way that we look at process resolution when the shipments are already out. So you also mentioned lead time. There, if we do see delays, we can already track it on the portal and try and act proactively. So it's really looking at the end-to-end, all the benefits on it, to really try and determine, which makes it more difficult to quantify, but definitely it's the full spectrum.
All right. Question here.
Yeah, Jens Schubert from Outlet City. You mentioned a special pickup for PostNL. Did you arrange that as ASICS with PostNL, or was that done through 7 Senders actually?
It's all 7 senders. Yeah, so
So-
we look together. Usually we've got operational calls on a weekly basis. We have the forecast, and then we give our requirements over to 7 senders, and they make the magic happen. So, yeah.
So maybe to comment on that one, you have to overplan it as well, right? Because carriers change their networks depending on the investments that they do, right? So for sure, after Corona, investments weren't really implemented that everyone planned. But you can have a situation where over time, let's say after a certain season, one hub loses a big client, one of the carriers, right? So the hub is suddenly empty and has space. The hub before was blocked, maybe by Amazon parcels, by Temu parcels. Suddenly the hub manager of whatever carrier wants parcels and has a better cutoff time. So what we do is we're not just looking at a static network. We also talk to our partners, the carriers, and if you have new information, you can maybe even shift the cutoff time later. And if you do that for whole Europe, it's something that if you do it central and if you do it for a lot of clients, you at the end have the entire overview, and I think only we can at the end replan it, because for us it's important that ASICS has the latest cutoff times for every country. For sure, if you have small countries, you got to optimize on the bigger ones, and the smaller ones have to go with it. But yeah, so that's how we think about it.
So I think any final question from the floor? All right, then I have one more question for you as well, Thomas, and maybe those also for all of you. But there was also, you mentioned the customs. You know, trying to give that as an experience that is as if it would be a normal cross-border type of parcel. On the logistics side, I understand that, but there's also the financial things with the duties and the taxes and all that type of things. So how do you sort of reconcile that between the two, between yourselves?
Yeah, I mean, what I pointed out earlier is we're coming from a very so when we founded the company, I don't want to start with Jesus Christ, right? But when we founded the company in 2015, paper, printing, 2-3 different providers. As I said, a lot of uploading. You can digitize that all, and that's what we did, and that is for the duties. Yeah. So if you have kind of perfect data, which you will never, but if you get to like 99%, with an API solution, you still have time to clean the data. With new technology, I'm trying not to use the word AI, but using some clever new technology, you can find bugs in the tarification very quickly and correct it. That makes the entire customs data flow, and then at the end, the duty topic, digital. When it comes to things like VAT, fiscal representation, this is something where we support, but you have to also stick to the regulations, and you will never get rid of a topic like having a fiscal representation in Switzerland, for example.
All right, that's thank you for that, for elaborating. And I guess it's also sort of, hey, if you have a service provider who is dealing with this super complex type of activity, it's also easier to work on the more simple optimizations here and there, I guess. Could you elaborate a little on that one, Michael, Suzanne, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it was still quite a big change in how our custom setups and the processes are. So we had to relook at what our current process is and adapt and change. So it's not that it was for us just easy to slot it in. We had to look internally also and be prepared for the changes there. But I think it pays off because it makes it more streamlined. It makes it more agile. So, yeah.
Well, just to wrap it up, I think it's great also to see a customer case, and to see also a customer case that's coming from a traditional market, working with a sort of also with some of the new entrants, and really going to this very complex cross-border activity that has helped you to increase your market, obviously, right? So that has helped you to increase the top line and maybe also the bottom line to a certain extent. That also goes beyond what a normal service provider should probably be doing. So thank you for sharing the insights. So give a big hand to Thomas Hagemann, Michael Gryszko, and Suzanne Bassermann.